What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to the live stream talking GX tonight, 550. The embargo has lifted. Today is the first, right? Yes, today is the first. Today is the first. The embargo has lifted. It lifted about, man, I think it was 9 a.m. I think is what all the papers say for the embargo, and I'm like, my brain, the way that it is sometimes, it skips some things. So I'm just gonna make sure that this Lexus embargo is actually lifted. I am like 99% sure that it is lifted because everyone else is posting videos and stuff on it. But what's up, guys? I am a little bit late. We will let some people come on in to the live stream. We will let some people come on into the live stream. I was doing my cold plunge, 5 minutes every single day. Yeah, I definitely was a little bit late, but we are all good. Was walking the dogs. Crazy day today, walking the dogs, packing. We're leaving to Mexico tomorrow. Trying to catch up on some things around the house since I was gone in Arizona, and now we are back and the embargo has lifted. So we are talking all GX stuff today. We did this same kind of thing for the Tacoma drive event impressions. I do have a video for the GX that's coming a little bit later. The YouTube has been flooded with people that the embargo was lifted today. So I'm just gonna do this here with you guys and just see what you guys want to know about the GX. I liked this kind of format that we did with the Tacoma for that drive event, and it was just really cool because it wasn't me. I mean, I'm rambling here, but it wasn't me just rambling about the Tacoma in just another video of a drive event. So I like to do this here. You guys just load up the comment section. If you guys want to go away from this and just listen to it kind of as a podcast, you can. I will show some video. I have this stuff queued up right here. So I have this stuff queued up to just kind of show you guys some video and talk about it a little bit, potentially. We will see how that goes. But I do have some GX stuff to talk about, but mainly, you know, it's just whatever questions you guys have. So let me know. I'll throw your guys' questions up on the screen, and yeah, we'll just get into it. And as more people come in, I'll kind of repeat some things, but we will go for only about an hour tonight. Live streams are usually a couple hours, but we're really only gonna go for an hour tonight because I gotta pack. I gotta pack some stuff. We're going out to dinner, hang out with the dogs a little bit tonight, and then wake up super early, get on a plane, and go to Mexico. First vacation in however long my wife and I have been married. A while. 2014, so like 10 years. First time we've really been on a vacation in 10 years. So long overdue. Blake, what is up, man? He says, I am eager to hear how riding in a TRD Pro Tacoma was. So that video, I am working on it, guys. I was really hoping to get it all edited and everything, but there is so much that went into that video right now. But I will say that it rode absolutely awesome, but I will have that video up either this weekend or later this week. So even though we are going to Mexico for a vacation, I do have some work to do because there's just so much that goes into that video. But we're gonna keep the focus on GX tonight, and we will talk about that Tacoma in no time. So Christian says, what is up? Tell us, old or new? Which one would I prefer? So I'm gonna go new all day on this new GX. I'm gonna go new all day, and it's not that the 460 was bad at all or anything like that. The 460, tried and true, the V8 and that, even the 470 with the 4.7 liter V8 is nice, right? Tried and true. I'm just a big fan of the size of this GX. We're just gonna start throwing up photos and stuff because that way it's not just me. So I am, and I'm looking this way, guys, because I do have two monitors going on, but I am a big fan of just how big this GX is. I like the size of this GX. I think it's the perfect size. It's not as small as the 4Runner, which the 4Runner is decent in itself, right? But it's also not as big as the Sequoia. So the size of this GX is awesome. The fact that they put the V6 in it that the Tundra has detuned a little bit, which you do kind of feel, but just the powertrain, the technology in it, and I can tell that on the videos and stuff, based on comments of people saying that's a bland interior and it doesn't look premium, that the fact that premium does not portray through video like at all. So It is, you know, lacking the shiny bits and stuff. It is a more neutral interior, which a lot of car companies are kind of going to. But the looks and the feel of the inside is pretty nice. Toss says, is it fast enough to make you on time? Nope, gonna be late even if I get the GX. But this is the first time I've been late in a long time. We've been rolling these live streams pretty much all year, and this is the first time I was late, bro, because I was cold plunging. Did not prioritize the time. I will admit that. You have to admit your faults, and if you don't, you're a freaking liar. Hawaiian says, I'd like to know if the Overtrail Plus rides well on the road as a 2023. So to be completely honest with you, I have not really driven a GX 460 on the road that often to even really remember like what it is about, right? So the Overtrail itself, I think this is a video. Oh, because they're all saved to the cloud. The GX Overtrail, it drove great on the road. It drove really, really good on the road. Hopefully this stuff comes through clear on the video and stuff, but it drove good on the road. Maybe not as good, I don't know, as a 460 potentially, but like the power was there. The Toyo tires that Lexus co-developed with Toyo for this. So they're not just like typical normal open country tires. They're actually like different than what you would get off the shelf for normal tires from Toyo on this. So they're 33-inch tires, decent aggressive sidewall on them, but Lexus worked with Toyo on these particular like manufacturer tires, I guess you should say, like with Lexus, to make sure that these things are actually quiet, yet they do good on off-road, on and off-road. And to be honest, I was very, very surprised with how quiet the Overtrail Plus was on road. It did not, you know, have a crazy amount of tire whine to it at all. It handled really well. And then also the EKDSS, I could tell a difference of this vehicle on road versus the other models. I was only able to drive a premium other than the Overtrail off-road or on-road, and it handled very well. It was very, very nice to drive on-road, and the power is there, man. The power is definitely there for sure. John, do you know the major difference between the Overtrail Plus and Overtrail? So you can go to Lexus's website for that, and they also have a whole breakdown of standard features. But it is just going to be based on like luxury items. So like an Overtrail Plus is going to have like the kick sensor in the back. It'll have the massaging seats. It's going to have a lot of stuff that personally for me, it's not worth the price. I would just get a standard Overtrail if I was to get the Lexus GX. It's not, to me, the Plus isn't really worth it. You get a good amount of stuff standard on the Overtrail. I don't know if I would spend that extra almost $10,000 for a Plus. I really, really don't. How does it compare to the current 4Runner? I'm going to see how many questions real quick we are behind. We're not too far behind, only 5 minutes. So again, if you guys answer questions, and I know we almost have close to 100 people in here, if you guys can hit that like button, I appreciate it. That way it shows other subscribers that we are live right now. But we are going to answer questions for about an hour talking about the GX for this live stream. And if I don't get to your question, just ask it again. Do not spam, but I will try to get to everyone's questions, and we're going to go for about an hour. So how does it feel compared to the current 4Runner? So it'll come out in my actual driving video, but my thought of this vehicle is that the best of both, basically, a 4Runner and a Tundra had a little baby, okay? And only the best attributes of each made its way, and it became the GX. So for the 4Runner, that built-in Japan quality, everything was solid. Even though that these were still pre-production models, everything was just so solid on this GX. And then really the main only thing that I really like on my Tundra, because there's some stuff here and there that I don't like about it, is, why does this overexpose when I try to show it to you guys, is the powertrain. So the powertrain on the Tundra, I really, really like, and that is here on the GX, and I really like it. So how does it compare to the Tundra? I like it. Or how does it compare to the 4Runner? I kind of like it a little bit more than the 4Runner, just for the simple fact that it's as big as the 4Runner, but a little bit bigger in both width, height, and length. It drives significantly better than the 4Runner. It is not underpowered at all. It is actually a very good and enjoyable vehicle to drive. And with that too, it's as solid as the 4Runner. It's just, I mean, look at how much space I have inside of this. Like with my headspace and stuff, I'm only 5'11", so I'm not like the tallest person in the world. But it's just, here we have a passenger right here who's helping us with the whole driving thing. I'm not sure if the volume's coming through. And it's just, I don't know. It's just nice to have a 4Runner. I feel like we'd be a little bit more scrunched together. There's more cargo space in here than the 4Runner as well. And then of course, like the added tech. The added tech is just really, really nice. And I'm not sure why on the screen it's just looking overly exposed when it's not overly exposed over here on this screen. So I apologize about that. AR says, John, great videos on the Tacoma GX and Land Cruiser. Super excited to hear more. Heck yeah, we got more for you guys coming down the pipeline. I can't wait. What engine is available for this car? The only thing that's available for this new GX is the 3.4 liter twin turbo V6. Can you tell me if the Tacoma has the same bolt pattern as the Tundra? It does. We're going to keep it more of GX stuff tonight. Random questions here and there. If we're not too far behind, I will answer. But it's definitely going to be more GX focused tonight for sure. I just like threw all these photos like onto here, and I don't like that it's overly exposed and stuff. But Randy says, like, that just looks so horrible. I don't know why I pay for StreamYard when this just does not look the best. Hopefully it looks good on your guys' end, because the way it looks for me, it just looks overly exposed, and that's just not cool. Randy says, I have a 460 now, and I would like a new one day. I'll have to pull a swaparoo. Yeah, I mean, it's very cool, this GX. Oh, wait, is it because... No, it shouldn't be. I don't know. This GX would definitely be a good upgrade from the 460. Like the 460 is definitely like gonna go down as a very reliable, very cool, very good vehicle. It's gonna be in the overland off-road scene for years and years to come. But this new 460, you could definitely tell that Lexus, they definitely put their R&D into it for sure. And it shows, especially off-road. Now, the crappy thing about like our off-road experience that we had was the fact that the course that, like, if you guys watch Toyota Jeff's videos when they come out or whatever, I'm not sure if they're already out, but like the way they did this kind of event with us was like, you had automotive journalists in the beginning, and then they had like an influencer group, like a TikToker group, and like all these influencers and stuff, like Zach Dial and everyone, and Pushing Pistons. And for some reason, Toyota Jeff was on that wave, which is cool. But they are the wave that finally got the off-road course opened up, because in the very sunny state of Tucson, or of Arizona, when we were in Tucson for this event, it freaking rained. It rained so much, and like the whole pit that they had for us, and just everything that they had ready for us for the GX was all washed out and just like not ideal. And they didn't want, potential amateurs that don't off-road all the time on those courses. So really all we had was like these little things that, I mean, it was cool to, see the articulation and stuff of the GX, and nothing is going to come across on camera that well, right? So, I mean, you could see the EKDSS working on this GX, but like that's nothing. Like that was the most intense that we had for our little event. It's just like this whole part right here that was just dug out, and that it was like last minute because of all the rain and stuff that it had, but nothing portrays on video at all. And really, I mean, we could have done this if the GX had two-wheel drive, right? But they just wanted to show us all the features and everything with it. So the off-road portion I was kind of upset about, but like I had no control over it. It was beautiful scenery, absolutely beautiful scenery. But like this, like that was pretty much the most for articulation bit. And even with our driver too, that was with us, they're all like, yo, like go up as high as you can on this just to see the articulation. And it still doesn't portray that well on camera, but you could see the rear tire tuck really nicely right there. And the EKDSS just disconnecting that rear sway bar, the front sway bar and everything. It was working really, really good. I enjoyed it. I hope that the volume didn't come through. I think the HDR button at the top corner is what's changing it. Yeah, I don't know why it does that, because it just like redoes it, but I don't know how to turn off. I don't know how to turn off HDR on these photos, and it's just yeah, it's kind of frustrating because it goes away, but and it doesn't look like that when I go to publish the vehicle or the videos and stuff. Mike says I just imagine a how rugged the 4Runner will be. Yeah, because with the Land Cruiser and with the new GX and stuff, like the 4Runner definitely has its place to be as rugged as Toyota wants to make it, just because the Land Cruiser and the GX will just be pretty popular for the more refined crowd, I guess. Whereas the GX and the Land Cruiser may portray kind of to like the more mature off-roady crowd. And I think that the 4Runner will have that range to be a little bit rowdy. AR says your latest video on the Land Cruiser First Edition really showed how great the interior looked versus the GX interior, mainly radio and buttons. Yeah, the Land Cruiser compared to the GX. So I guess like that would be my only con with the GX, is just kind of like how not bland the interior is, but just how it does like all of this dash. And I'm going to turn the volume off just in case it was going. But like all this dash here, like it just looks kind of plasticky on film, right? But all of this, like where my cursor is and stuff, all of that is just all soft touch, just super tight, good materials. But you can tell with the Land Cruiser that it is a little bit less plasticky. Like just all this just looks plasticky on it, but it's good, solid materials, which is kind of hard to portray on videos, and people don't see that. Or even like all these buttons and stuff all down there, they just kind of look a little cheesy and stuff on video, but it's not. And the 4 low, what I'm talking about here, like the 4 low to 4 high, and the lockers and stuff, they all show up there on the screen. And then also on this part right here, which is pretty cool, it's for your off-road. I don't show the screen again there, but it's for your off-road features, and it just shows all the information about the GX, which is pretty cool. Tez says, would love to hear your thoughts on the base GX Premium. So the base GX Premium was pretty good. I did a whole walk-around video of that, and it should have a couple things on it. See, like this looks okay. This isn't overly exposed, so it's 100% that HDR thing. So I'm not sure if I can change that or whatnot. If you can turn off the HDR stuff on iPhoto, then let me know, guys. But the base GX Premium, like there's some things on it that I personally feel should be standard at like $60,000, and also it's a Lexus product. Like down here, you didn't even have fog lights on it. Like all this is just kind of like a cheap plastic that's just removed. Not the biggest fan of that. Right here where the camera system is on the GX, like that thing didn't even have standard 360 camera view, which I think is kind of lame. Like it should have standard 360 camera view. And even like the back seats, like it's a premium model. Like it would have been nice to at least have heated seats for the back. Like, but maybe that's an upgrade if you get it with captain's chairs. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like the base Premium is good for the price, but I just wish that there was a little bit more standard features, like because the Overtrail is only $5,000 more or so than the base GX, and I feel like you get a bit more standard features in the Overtrail than you do on the Premium. Like I honestly think that the Overtrail is like the one to get if you don't care about having a rear seat. Randy says, actually glad they took the wood off the steering wheel. Did you get to drive in the day it rained, or were you with Ryan? So I got to drive a little bit when it was rainy, but it mostly cleared up, which was really good. So I was on what they call the second wave. So the first day, unfortunately, it rained for those guys all day, which does suck. The second day, we just had the leftovers of the rain, so all the mud and stuff on the off-road course. But it wasn't really rainy at all for us. Maybe just a little bit in the morning, but when I did my driving portion in the afternoon of like all the on-road driving, it wasn't rainy at all. So ultimate question though, would you spend the extra money for this or the Land Cruiser? So I want to drive the Land Cruiser. The only thing for this that makes me kind of more towards the GX is the powertrain itself. So we need to see how good the iForce Max powertrain is of the Land Cruiser, and it's going to be in the Tacoma too. And I felt it like a little bit, right, during the that off-road course at Barrett-Jackson, but really we were just in first and second gear. And Brandon Walsh, he's a Baja racer. Like we were drifting the truck and everything, so it wasn't really enough to get like a good vibe of how the truck will actually handle on the road and like how good that power is off road. Because I did the same course in a 4Runner and it felt just as fun and just as good. So you couldn't really feel as much of the iForce Max in that. But to me, like this is my preferred powertrain. I enjoy it in my Tundra. It is a little bit detuned in this GX, but like it's not horrible at all. It's definitely not horrible in the GX, and it felt nice and comfortable to drive. So I guess it would just be interior layout, which one you really like more, and if the Land Cruiser just feels a little bit underpowered. But then with the Land Cruiser too, like you're probably gonna get better gas mileage out of the Land Cruiser than this. This is, only going to be around 20, 21, like on the highway at most. And I think 17 combined, I believe, is what this this GX is. But if you're going to tow, I mean, holy crap, the GX now, they set up to 9,000 pounds, which that's kind of scary on such a short wheelbase like this. Yeah, this HDR thing is kind of pissing me off. Let me just bear with me real quick, guys. And I know this isn't professional like for a live stream, but this is how this channel is. We just kind of do everything raw. I don't remember doing this last time I showed stuff here on the screen, but even when I go to view, it just does not really do the whole HDR thing, which is kind of annoying because it looks even worse in like the StreamYard. But I mean, it'll be hard like once I finally get to drive both. I kind of like the looks of the Land Cruiser just a little bit more, just the normal Land Cruiser grade, especially after seeing that first edition like with the round headlights. I saw the 1958, but it had a bit more plastic up front. I was really hoping that I would enjoy the first edition a little bit more, but I kind of just like the normal base Land Cruiser looks more. And for the GX, really the only one that I like is the Overtrail. The premium looks fine. The luxury, those wheels being 22s, like they're cool, but they are they're a unique design for sure. But like everything, I just like the Overtrail Plus. Like literally the Overtrail Plus to me feels like a TRD Pro 4Runner, like on steroids. Is like my best way to describe how this GX feels. Hopefully this volume isn't playing in your guys' ear. Settings. All right, thanks Ryan. So we're gonna go photo real quick. Photos, settings, uncheck view full HDR. Oh my God. Let's get out of this. No, still doing it. I don't know. I unchecked the full view the HDR. I don't know. Maybe I gotta get out of it real quick and bring it back. Sorry if I lost some of you guys real quick, but I'm gonna quit that and we will see what it comes back as. But appreciate you guys real quick. I just wanted to look good on this, and I never had that problem before, and it's kind of frustrating that that's a problem. Yeah, it's still doing it. So I just tried quitting the thing and going back to it, but the piece of crap just still wants to auto do HDR. So that's kind of frustrating. I'm just gonna set this up again real quick. Window. Yeah. So I don't know why. I like Mac stuff sometimes, and then freaking other times it just makes me want to throw it through a freaking window, dude. It's just so frustrating. Like that just looks like absolute crap. So that's kind of frustrating. Maybe we'll bring this in. Yeah, that just looks like shit. That's so bad. All right. So Wayne says, did they give you any word on when they would hit the lot? So I was told around March, April timeframe is when these vehicles are supposed to hit. So probably about like a month before the Land Cruiser is going to hit is what these are going to be. So they said around March, April timeframe is where we're going to be at here. For this. And then this is a very good question by Rich. Which one do I prefer more, the Sequoia or the GX? I will say this. After driving the GX, I will probably never even think about buying a Sequoia again. I would never even think about buying a Sequoia again. The Overtrail, for what you get at 69,000 bucks compared to the TRD Pro that we had at $80,000, this Overtrail is better than it on fit and finish wise, and these were just prototypes. Like the Overtrail is just so much better than the Sequoia, and like the rear seat space, it wasn't, you know, horrible. It wasn't as good as the Sequoia, but it wasn't horrible. The captain's seat space, it's not as good as the Sequoia either, but you know, if you have teenagers maybe and you get captain's chairs in the center, like if you're a family of 4 and you have just like a couple kids and you and your spouse, like I would pick this GX every single time over the Sequoia. And even like the rear cargo space, like the rear cargo space of the GX. And I literally only have like the Overtrail stuff for this video because I thought that it would look good and stuff on camera for you guys or on this live stream for you guys. But like, yeah, I would probably never get a Sequoia again. I would never contemplate it. This rear cargo area is so much better of the GX. You don't have the hybrid stuff, which if you're a fan of the hybrid stuff, like this doesn't have it, which is very, very cool. So, I mean, it's just, I feel like the GX is just a better buy all around than the Sequoia. And it's not as big. Like, to me, the GX is the perfect size. I appreciate you guys talking about the HDR and everything. I tried. I clicked the button at the top. I've done everything that I think I could. Like this one, it's not in HDR. From Isaac. Isaac has a Team Forerunner. I'm not sure if you guys have checked out their stuff and everything. So this one's not recorded in HDR, and it's working. So I tried clicking that HDR button. I've done everything. I thought I've done everything, and I keep forgetting to do this too. So hopefully it's not playing in the background at all. Any hints on what the hybrid engine will be that they put in later? So this is a thing that's coming for this GX, is there will be a hybrid option. I tried to ask them like what it would be, and they said like it's just not here yet because of some of the battery stuff that's going on, like with China and a couple other factors, but they did not tell us what it would be itself. So I have just the feeling that the 2.4 will just make its way into this for like MPG purposes. And then maybe that would position the 6-cylinder that's already in this GX to be more of the kind of premium engine for those that want the premium engine. Ian says, hey, good evening. Can you tell me what's the device on the top of the steering column in front of the dash? So that's going to go back to this video right here. Maybe we could see it a little bit. So this right here, if you're talking about this is just something to check your eyes as you're driving to make sure that the driver is paying attention. But right above the dash, like right up here at the very top, that is a HUD. So the Overtrail and a couple other models, they have a HUD, which some people like, some people don't like. I don't like it because I wear polarized glasses and you can't see the HUD while wearing polarized glasses. So like you're kind of spending more money than you need for something, like for me at least, that I would never use. Daniel says, hey John, are the red lenses below the taillights just reflectors, or does the GX have rear fog lights? So I believe that those are just kind of like a rear reflector thing going on right there. I didn't see them light up. And then like Lexus themselves, like this is the HUD right there that you can see. Lexus themselves said that that was like a blade kind of brake light situation that was going on in the back, but I never really saw them light up. So in videos and stuff, and this is me like showing my headspace and whatnot, this HDR looks like absolute garbage, guys. I am so sorry. But it kind of just looks like reflectors back there. I'd be interested to see though in the future what you can actually do with that, and that may just be a thing too because it's like based on the Land Cruiser as well, and it's a global platform. Like maybe they just have that there for those stuff, and maybe the US model, when you pop that off, you could potentially put like an aftermarket thing right there for like some rear scene lights or access lights or something like that. That would actually be pretty cool. James says, hello, John, just checking in. Love the videos. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone. If you guys haven't leave a like button yet for the algorithm, go ahead and try. I would appreciate it. I say try, it's because I was reading other stuff, but go ahead and do that. I appreciate it. BW says, hey, John, I have the opportunity to get a TRD off-road premium. We're not going to be answering questions about other stuff tonight. I apologize. Ryan... Yeah, they should have resolved it. I don't know. Must be an Apple thing. Apple products are crap. No, you're crap. No. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes they work. When they work, they're great. Other times, I mean, everything has hiccups. But the cool thing is that when I sell these computers or stuff like that, Apple products keep their value. It's like Toyota. They're out of date sometimes with certain things, but other times they're really good with stuff. So how quiet is the Luxury Plus? I unfortunately did not get to drive the Luxury Plus on the road, but from the Premium to the Overtrail, aside from the tires on the Overtrail, I noticed no real difference when driving. This vehicle does not have like much wind noise, if any, at all while you're driving. It is a very quiet tank just going down the road. Even when you floor it, you don't really hear the turbos spool up or anything like you would the Tundra. Like I turned off the fake V8 noise in my Tundra, and I turned off the fake V8 noise in my Tundra, and now I can hear the turbos spool up and everything. But on the GX, it is very, very hard to hear the turbos spool up, and I really don't even hear, like they have so much sound deadening in this GX. It's kind of crazy. Like there's a lot of sound deadening in this vehicle, and this is I think it was me or Isaac going down right there. So it's then it just does its thing. I don't know why. But it's very, very quiet until you put it like into sport mode. So when you put the GX into sport mode, there's a little bit of artificial sound that comes through, and it's kind of like the Tacoma in the sense where it's not trying to be like a V8 or anything like that. It's just like a grunt out of the vehicle, and it sounds decent. But the cool thing is like that's only there if you put the truck's drive mode into sport. Whereas like if you're in normal or eco, it is just like extremely quiet. So I'm not sure if the Luxury Plus will have even more like quietness or sound deadening than, you know, this Overtrail or the Overtrail Plus or Premium Plus. But like those models alone, because they were the only two that I was able to drive during that, those two models alone were just so quiet. And with the mirrors like hanging out on the side of the vehicle, I feel like you don't get a bunch of wind noise like right there. And granted, it's acoustic glass like on this vehicle, but you don't get like a whole bunch of just kind of sound near the windows. Like everything on this GX is just super solid and super quiet as well, which is pretty cool. And just obviously look at this guy, what a goober. It's just very, very nice and very refined. Like I said, it feels like the 4Runner, right? Like the 4Runner's super solid, built in Japan. Like everything fit and finish of my 4Runner is great. And then you have the powertrain of the Tundra, which you can't really hear at all. Like it's very hard to hear the turbos in this thing. And it's just like the best of those both just mashed together to make this vehicle. I'm excited to see how the Land Cruiser is. Like what differentiates the Land Cruiser from this, right? Because I mean, they're the same underpinnings pretty much. It's the same body itself. But then you have the 4-cylinder, so maybe it'll be a bit peppier because it's maybe a little bit lighter, maybe less sound deadening. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see with the Land Cruiser. Hey, does the Luxury Plus have a trailer brake controller? So to my understanding, all of these new GXs have integrated brake controllers with them. So no matter which one you get, whether it's just a standard Premium or a Premium Plus, yeah, like I even clicked that HDR button and it went away, right? And it's still like this. They will all have an integrated brake controller. How many interior cameras? How many interior cameras? F that. I have no idea what you're talking about, Rex. Complete the sentence so we know. Yeah, I don't know why the car is spying. Oh, those cameras, I guess. Yeah, that's just how a lot of stuff is now. For driver to stay aware, I guess, of certain things. And yeah, it's the nanny systems on this vehicle. Like the cool thing with Lexus and Toyota is that you can turn a lot of that off, but sometimes like they come back default and turn back on like when you fire the vehicle back up, which is kind of annoying. And again, sorry if that's playing through. I don't know why it does that. Does the volume play like on this video when it's showing it, or is it just showing the screen? Like if someone could let me know that in the comments, that'd be cool. Are the Overtrail seats as comfortable or more comfortable than Forerunner seats? Good question. And good question because like the Forerunners, no sounds. Okay, cool. Thank you, Rich. The Forerunner seats are nice and cushy. The Overtrail seats feel they they feel the same as the Forerunner, a bit wider and a bit bigger, and maybe just a little bit kind of more bolstering to hold you in. Like I don't feel all mushy like I do in the Forerunner. Like when you sit in the Forerunner seats, you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like the Forerunner that we ripped around, I just did a short about it on YouTube, and that will be part of the whole TRD Pro jumping experience and driving experience at Barrett Jackson. But when I sat in the Forerunner there and we did that whole course, like with the Fox suspension, the Forerunner was honestly like my favorite one. We did the TRD Pro Tundra and the Tacoma, but the Forerunner was still my favorite just because of the suspension and the seats. And I feel like that's how this GX is. Like the suspension, you know, it's not like Fox shocks, but you have the EKDSS for off-road, and we did do some fast driving too. I think that's on my GoPro, which isn't here yet, but I got the GX up to like 40 miles an hour, which is kind of as fast as we could go on this course. But as you're driving and turning, because it was kind of like a cool little swerving off-road course like this, the GX felt very planted, and like with those seats, they kept me in probably a little bit better than the Forerunner would, just because the Forerunner and the GX460 are kind of like the same seats. They have the same look to them. These seats I felt like a bit more secure and stable like inside of them. It's still an SUV. It's not a race car. It's not gonna like hold your fat and like keep you straight in place, right? But the seats felt, I would say, more driver focused in this GX over the Forerunner. The Forerunner is definitely like super plush seats, but these seats, like I'm not going to complain about them at all. So getting to that though, while we were going fast on part of this off-road course, like we just let people, you know, go through the trail and they just like went further ahead, and then we just went kind of fast with the GX. With the EKDSS, while you were off-road, the truck did not want to roll a lot. Like the EKDSS and everything just kind of kept that truck very stable. And wherever you seem to want to point the nose with this, even though it's an SUV, it went that way, which is nice, especially at speed while off-road. Now, you know, we weren't going 80 miles an hour, right, to overshoot a turn. But around 35 to 40 miles an hour, where you turn the steering wheel, and the electronic power steering is great on this vehicle, by the way, where you pointed that steering wheel, the truck went. It didn't really roll that much at all with the EKDSS. It was a very fun vehicle to have while off-road, and even at speeds too. Like it was really fun off-road. Why did you take we're not answering these questions. You guys are characters, bro. Because we work a lot. That's why we haven't gone on vacation in a while. We just work a lot, man. But it'll be fun. I appreciate everyone saying to have a good time. I am decided between Luxury Plus and Overtrail Plus. 7 seats are important, but don't want to lose out on the multi-terrain select and crawl control. So that's a very big thing if you go Luxury versus the Overtrail. And maybe wait a little bit, because they did mention on the Overtrail at the event, because someone did ask, they said that, hey, the Overtrail, why is it only a 5-seater? Are you guys gonna do a 6-seater or a 7-seater, right? Like with the back. And they said if the demand is there, then they will do a 7-seater Overtrail Plus. So I feel like the demand will be there, and it's going to be one of those things where it's like product longevity, basically, for the GX is like maybe in the future that they will do that. And this is me showing the camera system, which is the same brand new 360 camera system that a lot of the vehicles have, and with the steering wheel and everything. So if having those seats is a thing for you, QN, I think is how you pronounce your name, then you may want to just do an Overtrail in the future, like maybe next year or the year after that or something. They would do the Overtrail Plus with the 7 seats, maybe like a captain's chair in the center, because there are those that want it, and it was definitely not a concern that people had. And the thing goes away and it shows you the tires right there, which is pretty cool. But it's definitely something that is on Lexus's radar, and they will address it, I guess, like if there's a demand for it, right? But yeah, losing out on the multi-terrain select and crawl control is a cool thing to have for the GX. I wish all the other models had it, kind of like the old 460. I think the 460, it had it on all the models. But this one, yeah, they really only catered that towards the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus. Might have been asked, but do they have a drive date for the Land Cruiser? No official date yet for the Land Cruiser. I do have an event from Toyota that said, hey, save this date, but they did not mention exactly everything that will be going on during that time. So I'm excited about it, but it may be the Land Cruiser drive event during that time too, but it's going to be in a couple months. If you compare this Lexus to a Genesis, the Lexus looks bland and cheap. Yeah, but it's going to hold its value significantly more than the Genesis will. That is for sure. I mean, especially in 5-10 years, I don't even know what a Genesis would be worth. Probably a whole lot less than what you buy it for. And the GX will definitely hold its value over the long run. You boys like Mexico? So if you guys are just popping in to the live stream, we're only going to go for about 15 more minutes because I got a pack to go on vacation. We're kind of showing some of the videos and stuff. I apologize that the HDR has just been absolutely garbage on this. I've turned it off, reset the photos and everything, but it's still just looking bad. But these were just some of the photos and videos and stuff from the event, which was cool. And whatever questions you guys have about the GX, just go ahead and put it into the comments right here. And I enjoy doing it this way versus just another video of the flooded videos that people released at this time, just to give you guys kind of the just raw thoughts of it. And I was a little bit distracted earlier, so I do apologize, just with stuff coming in, and this thing kind of peeved me a little bit because it's not working the way that it should. But it's all good. But long story short, man, I mean, with the GX, like, it's an SUV. It drives more truck-like, I feel, than the 4Runner does. You sit up a bit higher in it. You don't feel like you're sitting low on the ground, which I felt like you kind of sit also in the 460. I compared the 460 to the 550 in a video too for you guys, showing a lot of the interior stuff and exteriors around it and seating positions and whatnot. But then the powertrain of this is just, it's so good. I mean, that's one of the things that I love most about my Tundra is just the powertrain. And like, this is just quality mixed with that powertrain, and the size of it. It's bigger than the 4Runner, but it's not obnoxiously big as the Sequoia, even though, you know, the Sequoia is not a big suburban-like SUV, but this is just such a good size, and it'll be great for the trails and everything too. I mean, the way the Lexus engineers and just Lexus talked about this vehicle for off-road purposes, like, they didn't want to make it too big like the LX and the Land Cruiser 300 series and the Sequoia, because they want people to fit on trails. They don't want the truck just deliberately getting pinstriped because it's overly big. And then the fact that they just put the V6 in this one is just so good too. No volume, we can't hear it. Perfect. Heck yeah. So hello. So Ruben says, does this thing take premium fuel, or did any of the other engineers say otherwise? So to my understanding, when Lexus did the press release for this, and they gave all the specs, in that press release, it said premium fuel recommended. It did not say required. So, I mean, and I know a guy, I used to work with him. He was a civilian when I was in the military. He would throw regular fuel in his Audi and he didn't care, right? So, I mean, I don't know if there's like some tuning parameters that Lexus did with this engine, but like it's detuned compared to the Tundra. But I'm not like an engine expert that I know exactly what octane does for certain components of the engine. Bro, I have no idea. So they say recommended. I'm not sure if that means that if you just put regular fuel in the vehicle, if you won't get the optimal like 349 horsepower and 479 torque, maybe you get like 310 or 320. I have no idea. All I know is that if Lexus's press release says recommended and not required, I'm probably just gonna put regular fuel in this thing. If I ever own one day, I'm just gonna put regular fuel in it because it's the same engine that the Tundra has. And you know, I guess if you can afford this vehicle, especially if you buy like the $84,000 luxury one, I'm sure you can afford premium gas, right? However, it's nice to save money, you know, and in certain areas, the gas is a bit more quiet. I don't know why he honked. That's annoying. Tell him to stop. Got a buddy that's here and he's honking the horn and I'm doing a live stream. But yeah, I wouldn't put premium fuel in this thing, especially if they say not to or if it's only recommended. Randy says that my fear is that when they offer a third row for the Overtrail, Toyota USA will never let another 2-row onto U.S. soil. So, I mean, the Land Cruiser, that's going to be a 2-row, right? Like, they already said that the Land Cruiser will be a 2-row SUV. And maybe even for the Land Cruiser in the future, it'll be a 3-row SUV. Not 100% sure, but it'd be cool to have 3 rows someday. For the Land Cruiser. I mean, they have the cup holders back there. And if you guys looked at Cruiser Kurt Williams, he did a video on the new Land Cruiser in Moab. And he was talking about like the rear seat because it's a global platform. It has cup holders back there. It has USB-Cs. Granted, it's a pre-production model still. So we'll see how that goes. If they're still going to ship them with cup holders back there, that'd be kind of wild. But yeah, I mean, it just depends on the market, right? And like for those early adopters that buy this this GX and, you know, maybe they're like, I want it to have 3 rows and maybe they buy a premium instead, right? And then in 2-3 years, the Overtrail has 3 rows. Now they may upgrade their premium to an Overtrail Plus. That's all about the whole product longevity of a life cycle of vehicles. If they give you everything like right in the beginning, and this is, you know, how these businesses stay in business, is like if they give you everything right at the beginning, then especially if they're a reliable vehicle like Lexus and Toyota is, if they give you everything at the beginning, why would you upgrade the vehicle in 5 years or 8 years? You're not. You're just going to keep it forever. And it's the same with the Tacoma, right? They don't offer a manual transmission right now in the extra cab models, or the pre-runner, or the pre-runner Tacoma. It doesn't have a 4-wheel drive version, or the TRD off-roads. There's no extra cab version of that. Maybe they do that in a couple years if the demand is there, and then it just helps kind of refresh the life cycle of the vehicle, which I feel like they're doing here with the GX for some certain things. You going to sell your 4Runner and get the new GX? I do not plan to sell my 4Runner at all, unless I really, really have to. I would like one day to have a big garage or something with one of every generation of 4Runner, and the 5th gen will hopefully be the one that I have right now. So I do want to have either a GX or a Land Cruiser on the channel because I've driven it and I've seen a lot of it lately, and the Land Cruiser is just kind of like a very quiet, secretive thing. Like Lexus has advertised the crap out of the GX. The Lexus marketing team has done a really good job advertising this GX. You see it all the time on social media, not to the point where it's like overly annoying, but like there's a lot of GXs out there. We got to drive it. We know all the specs about it, the price, everything, and it's still months away. Like, I think that's why I'm a little bit more excited for the GX than the Land Cruiser, just because the Land Cruiser, you know, it was revealed 8 months ago now, or 9 months ago, something like that. It was revealed a while ago, maybe not as long, maybe not quite 9 months, but it was revealed a while ago. The Land Cruiser was. I would show you guys other photos, but there's some photos that I have on here of a certain vehicle that's not supposed to be shown yet. It's not the 4Runner. It's not the 4Runner. But if I go back to like my other photos, you guys will see it. I'm waiting to when I get the green light to post that stuff. But I think I'm just like more excited for the GX than I am for the Land Cruiser. But I don't anticipate on selling my 4Runner for it. The 4Runner, it just, I've already sold one 4Runner in the past with my with my second gen 4Runner, and even though it wasn't like as good as my third gen, it's still like, it still hurt to sell one. Do they have a base premium to drive? So that is going to be one of my like overview driving videos. Is I actually did drive the base GX, and it drove just as good as the Overtrail. I didn't feel like out of place with it. Or like like wanting more premiumness of it. It was super quiet, very, 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 very limited wind noise, like no wind noise at all, pretty much at 65 miles an hour. Like where this area was, we weren't able to like jump on the 10 freeway or anything and go like 75, 80 miles an hour. Like the fastest we were really able to drive on the stretch of roads that they had for us up there was about 55, 65. But even still, there was really no wind noise even at that mile per hour with it, with both the premium and also the Overtrail that I did. So for lockers for this, it has center lockers and rear lockers for the Overtrail, and then every other model of the GX will have it'll have a center locking diff and full-time four-wheel drive. Again, the last bit of questions here, guys. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. So if you guys have any last questions, just go ahead and throw them into the comment section. I appreciate it. Ruben, thanks for the content. Appreciate you guys watching. I'm sorry that this one was a little bit all over the place. It was whatever. But the whole HDR thing kind of threw me off a little bit. I just wanted a lot of these to kind of just play in the background and whatnot, but it's just like so overexposed on the StreamYard, and I thought it was a StreamYard, but for some reason it's still happening on this. He's watching the live stream and honking the horn to troll you. Probably, man, knowing his childish butt. Does the GX550 exterior camera system have the ability to be a dash cam or a security cam? That would actually be very cool if it did, like kind of like Lexus, right? Like if you were or a Tesla, if it was able to be like on its own, but not to my knowledge. It is just for multi-camera monitoring, just a full 360 kind of camera view situation going on for it, which is, it's cool to have, but it can't be used as a dash cam. So they sell a separate kind of dash cam feature on it. You guys can see right here. So it has like a full 360 camera view. Over here you have like the front stuff. You have the full panoramic view of the whole vehicle, and it like actually shows a properly colored, like this one was the caviar color, and it looks like caviar. You have the front cameras and everything, and then when you put it in the four-wheel drive, it's just really the exterior cameras are only for just monitoring the cameras themselves. Maybe there's a little hack someone can do in the future to like put it to a hard drive and stuff, but the cameras are completely dead if the vehicle is off. What color do you like the best? Man, that's kind of hard because all of Lexus's colors, like even though some of them are bland, a lot of the colors just are still stupid good. Like they're really good. This color right here, the caviar color, super rich in color. They have a Nightfall Mica, which is like a blue color. The Incognito right here, very, very good. Again, it's overly exposed for you guys. I apologize. The Earth color though, like Earth just looks like sand, right? It just looks like just normal sand, but this Earth color, it looks so good on the Overtrail, especially with the black roof and everything. And then the fact that it has like a metallic-y paint in it, or a metallic-y flake, is really nice too. And then Nori Green, man, you can't go wrong with Nori Green. Even like the silver, like just that standard silver that they have just look good. And then black on black, like you can't go wrong with black on black, especially when it's clean. It looks so good. Like even dirty right here, it looked good. And so these Overtrails too, I noticed like they don't have mud flaps on them, just maybe for ground clearance or for fitting that bigger tire. But like the Tacoma can fit 33s and 35s like fairly easily. So the fact that the mud guard isn't there and all you have is just a little bit of mud right here is really, really cool. Like the fact that these fenders are just so large, and when we went through the mud puddle, I wonder if it's down here. I don't see it down here. There was like a little bit of a mud puddle that we went through at a decent speed, and it just kind of like went outside the fenders, and just yeah, the front end of this GX is pretty good for that. Like you could see it right here, like just how kind of wide those front hips are. Land Cruiser all day, every day. We will see when we get to test drive the Land Cruiser, and it does have a center locking diff. I appreciate it. Yep, we'll have good time on vacation. Heck yeah, we got about 5 more minutes. I'll go for a full hour. I was about 5 minutes late, so whatever last questions you guys have on the GX, just throw them in. Or if you guys have any random Toyota questions now, we've kind of talked about the GX for a little bit. You guys just want to throw in some random Toyota questions for the last 5 minutes, then I'll go ahead and answer those now. The wife and I are looking to test drive one tomorrow if it's on the lot. They definitely won't be unless you were talking about something else, Mike. I don't see other questions from you up in here, but March, April timeframe for these. Unless the dealership has like a demo one or something like that, that would be cool, but really it's going to be March, April for these. Do you think the hybrid version will have a third row? That's a good question. Probably not. I mean, maybe, but I'm curious, maybe they're just trying to engineer it in a way to not be horrible like the Sequoia's third row, especially for this, because that third row seat, you're literally sitting like right on top of the axle. I mean, and if you add the batteries to it, or maybe they'll put different batteries in the back of this one compared to like the Sequoia, maybe they'll do like some lithium batteries or something a little bit smaller, then that may be the play for this versus the and that incognito looks so good. That would maybe be the play versus the nickel metal hydride batteries that Toyota uses in the Sequoia and Tundra and Tacoma. Any word on a snorkel kit for the GX? That would be wild. So I haven't even seen one yet for like the Tacoma or for or not the Tacoma, for the Tundra or Sequoia. But I'm curious how that would be. It would definitely have to be a dual snorkel, or if like it feeds into one box or something, but both boxes need to have like the same amount of air. So it would definitely be a dual snorkel setup. I've seen some on the Land Cruiser 300 series. I've seen some with, I want to say one snorkel, but I have seen a company with 2 snorkels. And I'm curious how the turbos would sound at that point if you had 2 turbos with 2 snorkels going on at the same time. That would be pretty wild. But yeah, for everyone just jumping in, we're only going to be going for a couple more minutes. And if you guys, before you head out tonight, if you want to leave a like button on this live stream, I'd appreciate it. But this thing, man, it was pretty cool. Oh, that's cool to show the location down at Tucson. But the GX was awesome. I really enjoyed the whole front end. Like this whole front end was super solid. Like I pressed on it like I would my, not to talk crap about my Tundra, but it's not this level of Lexus quality. But this whole front end was super solid. The lights, I wish, it got dark enough at night for us driving it to really see how these triple beam headlights work. Oh, and the driving position of this seat right here, overlooking this kind of hood and front end that they have, like the center of it dips down good for great visibility. And I mentioned it in my videos, and then I do show it in my driving portions. And then this little hip right here on the hood is really, really nice. Like this hip right here on the hood, you could tell where the side of your GX is, and then just looking down, you just have such great visibility. And with the angle that the windshield is, it's not like super raked and really low. The angle of the windshield is just really good too, nice and tall too. Like the visibility out of this is really good. And then the mirrors themselves, I mentioned this in a video earlier, but I do talk about it in my driving video. The mirrors themselves, I think it was in the Land Cruiser video I talked about it. the mirrors themselves, like they look weird, right? But they're actually really good. They're nice and tall, and like the good, like the perfect amount of width. You see so much out of those mirrors. Like, so the fact that they're just right here on the door and they look very FJ like, the mirrors work, man. They work really good. All right, so last few questions. We're about to hit an hour. Alan says, do you think that the hybrid version will get substantially better miles per gallon? I feel like it may get better for sure. I don't know if it's going to be around 27 because that's what Toyota had for the Land Cruiser, and then they took it off of the website. But with the Tacoma getting, around 24-ish miles per gallon on the highway, something like this in hybrid form may get like 25 maybe, which is still better than the and depending on how many batteries and how heavy it is, it may get close to like 24, 25 on the highway, which would still be better than the about 21 that it gets right now. Fatic says this is just one of the times where Toyota has given an actual this has to be one of the times. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe that was on the press release. I'm not exactly sure. But even when it becomes a hybrid, you don't have to worry about like water crossings or anything because all the hybrid stuff is all mechanical, which is pretty cool. The LC250 in Japan spec had a rear ventilated and heated seats. Any chance the US spec would offer that as an option? I can't remember if the first edition had just heated seats back there or if it was heated and ventilated. But vehicles overseas and stuff, they'll have like different options than the US markets will. And just like the US market, we have different options than Canada for like certain things too. So it'd be cool if it was just the same across the board. There's just no specs, unfortunately, really out yet for the Land Cruiser for us to just really know everything about it, unfortunately. We don't really know everything yet that we can about the Land Cruiser. And then last question, do you think that the weight is the reason why they don't have a third row on Overtrail trims? I don't think so at all. Honestly, I think that the reason why they went with no rear seats for the Overtrail is because the potential clientele like they're catering to, like the overland market, which would be the people that buy that Overtrail, is like gonna put drawer systems back there. They're gonna build out the back of the GX to kind of be like a camping hub, really. And I think that just having seats that fold down, it doesn't make sense for them to like spend the money and put the seats in there from Lexus. Like if they just omit the seats, and now that's even more profit margin for them for the GX Overtrail. And then plus two, people aren't buying a truck with seats in the back, just folding them completely down, and they'll always be down, and then putting plates on top and like the goose gear type of plates on top for drawer systems and fridges and all that crap. So I think like the demand is probably there for that, and I know Lexus will come out with an Overtrail that has a third row. But for the majority of people that may want that vehicle, they would rather just have a giant cargo space versus having a seat back there. Overlander, exactly. So Overlanders, I mean, they don't need a third row. That's why you see a lot of people with the Sequoia TRD Pros, they actually are able to rip those seats out. Not easily, but they rip the seats out and put a flat surface back there. And like, there's people that don't need the third rows. I feel like future families, they're not shrinking, but like people aren't having, and I said this on the live stream with like Tim Esterdahl when we did all of those people on the live stream. I just don't feel like people are having, in the future, like 4, 5, 6 kids anymore to where they need a full 3-row SUV. Like it's usually just a couple people in the family. So thanks, John, for taking the time to provide the content. Of course, guys, have a great vacation. Thank you so much. Before you guys head out, you do want to leave a like again. Sorry, like the photos weren't working the best, but we will have my actual proper video of the GX, talking about my driving experiences with it and everything, the off-road content as well. It won't be overly exposed and crappy HDR when you guys see it. And then I was able to see a 4Runner in Terra at Barrett-Jackson, so I will show you guys that video as well. And then also the TRD Pro stuff for the Tundra or for the Tacoma, talk about my driving or my riding experience and that, jumping it all around, and definitely some more videos coming for you guys. And then hopefully we get my Tacoma soon. It has been built, but it has no ship date yet. So the Tacoma's been built for you guys hanging out this whole time and you guys haven't left yet. I will leave that nugget with you guys that my truck has been built. So that's awesome, but just waiting on an ETA now for it to get to the dealership. So guys, I appreciate you so much. You see a lack of content, it's because I'm sitting on a beach, but I appreciate you guys so much. Oh, is this you? Bro, you little shit. I swear to God. What type of name is that? This guy. All right, guys. Appreciate you all coming out. So it was he has been in the live stream. Mr. Honky Boy over here. He's been in the live stream. Oh, gotcha. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I will catch you all in the next one. See you later. It's your what?